Hello, 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 greetings, salutations, konnichiwa, and every other form of green across this vast, marvelous multiverse. I am Matsu Quinox. This is Horace, and welcome back, my dear, marvelous, wonderful scholars, to the study. Hello there, hello there, hello there! Hello there, Julian20. Congratulations on getting first. Hello there, Cool Skeleton. Merry Chrysler, indeed. Hello there, Dr. Zadia. Merry Chrysanthemum to you as well. Julian20, and a Holly Jolly to you too, although I don't know if that matches. Julie Jelly, Merry Chrysler, and Happy Honda Days to you as well. Cool Skeleton, someone certainly looks very dapper. Oh, thank you. This is actually my secondary costume. I don't wear it all that often. I should wear it more. I like it. Makes me look all fancy and dapper and a little bit mysterious at the same time. Well, my dear scholars, if you happen to be in some part of the multiverse, today is Christmas Day. Merry Christmas to you all, my dear scholars. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you managed to get plenty of wonderful gifts, aka books. Because we all know books are the only gifts worth giving. So, please, I hope you got lots of books. Oh, hello there, Kidron. Welcome. Merry Christmas to you, too. Cool Skeleton. Immobilized Head is a classic. Ah, thank you. Yes, yes. It's immobilized by my sheer force of will. Julian20, books are awesome. Yes! Yes, they are awesome. Julian20. They are the foundation of everything. Oh, if we could have books all the time. If we could not just read books, but eat books, wear books, breathe books. Oh, everything would be wonderful. Cool Skeleton, I actually got some manga recently. Oh, wonderful! Yes, manga is a wonderful way to read as well. Manga, comic books, all of it matters. You truly jelly. Okay, Yumiko Redman. That reminds me, I haven't talked to her in a while. Horace, remind me to give her a call. Yes, you know the one. Yes, that the strange woman who walked into the study that one time. The one who nearly had a seizure when she found out what it was. Oh, hello there, Drezov the Wicked. Welcome. Knock, knock. Are you the new butler? What happened to Hudson? I am not a butler. I am an omniversal librarian. I just happen to be wearing this in what's the word I'm looking for? In celebration of the season. Although this is actually meant for other things. No, we don't have any butlers here at the study. It's just me, Horace, the book squids, and half a dozen other odd creatures who we tend to avoid. Julian20, Victorian times. Yes, Victorian times. We are on here. As you know, this room in the study is called Victoria's Road. It's currently snowing here because, of course, it is that time. Oh, my dear scholars, alas, tonight is the final night of that wonderful classic, A Christmas Carol. Now, I will warn you, my dear scholars, this stream tonight will probably be a short one. It is a very short chapter. It is a very enjoyable chapter, and I know many of you are busy and doing other things, but thank you for coming here. It is such a treat to be able to share this wonderful story with you every year. Yes, where was I? Oh, yes. So, the summary so far of this story. Last time in A Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge was visited by the third ghost, the spirit of Christmas yet to come. In the future, he witnessed degradation from old Joe selling his wares. He witnessed the sorrow of Tiny Tim's death. And he learned the terrible secret of what was to befall him if he did not change his ways. Oh my goodness. It was very dramatic. Very dramatic. So, my dear scholars, shall we begin and finish this marvelous holiday tale straight from Charles Dickens? Jury J starts humming thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me You know, it sounds a bit bizarre, but things the way they are. I don't remember the rest of the lyrics because they're blanking. Johnny, yes, please, Johnny. That is one of my favorite musicals. I will not lie. Oh, I forgot to mention that one yesterday. Oh, I forgot to mention the great big musical number. They dance literally on Scrooge's coffin. Oh my goodness, that was great. Well, I did mention it, but I should have mentioned that part because it's brilliant. Oh, but anyway, let's begin then, I suppose. So, my dear scholars, sit back, relax, have a hot or cold beverage of your liking, dim the lights if necessary, and let us finish A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Excuse the cough. Excuse me. Stave 5. The end of it. Yes, and the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiest of all, the time before him was his own, to make amends in. I will live in the past, the present, and the future, Scrooge repeated as he scrambled out of bed. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven in the Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees. He was so fluttered and so glowing with good intentions that his broken voice would scarcely answer to his call. He had been sobbing violently in his conflict with the spirit, and his face was wet with tears. They are not torn down, cried Scrooge, folding one of his bed curtains in his arms. They are not torn down, rings and all. They are here. I am here. The shadows of the things that would have been may dispelled. They will be. I know they will. His hands were busy with his garments all this time, turning them inside out, putting them on upside down, tearing them, mislaying them, making them parties to every kind of extravagance. I, I don't know what to do, cried Scrooge, laughing and crying in the same breath, and making a perfect Laocoon of himself with his stockings. I am as light as a feather. I am as happy as an angel. I am as merry as a schoolboy. I am as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world. Hello here. Whoop! Hello! He had frisked into the sitting room and was now standing there, perfectly winded. There's the saucepan that the gruel was in, cried Scrooge, starting off again and frisking round the fireplace. There's the door by which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas present sat. There's the window where I saw the wandering spirits. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened. Really, for a man who had been out of practice for so many years, it was a splendid laugh. A most illustrious laugh. The father of a long, long line of brilliant laughs. I, I don't know what day of the month it is, said Scrooge. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Never mind. I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello! Whoop! Hello here! He was checked in his transports by the churches ringing out the lustiest peals he had ever heard. Clash, clang, hammer, ding, don, bell, bell, don, ding, hammer, clang, clash. Oh, glorious, glorious. Running to the window, he opened it and put out his head. No fog, no mist. Clear, bright, jovial, stirring cold. Cold piping for the blood to dance to. Golden sunlight, heavenly sky, sweet fresh air, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious. What's today? Cried Scrooge, calling downward to a boy in Sunday clothes, who perhaps had loitered in to look about him. Private Maverick is. Oh, hello there, Private Maverick. Welcome. A sunny Christmas in ye old London. Yes, indeed, a rarity back there, especially with all that smog and fog. I? Returned the boy with all his might of wonder. What's today, my fine fellow? Said Scrooge. To die? Replied the boy. What? Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day, said Scrooge to himself. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellow. Hello, returned the boy. Do you know the poulterers in the next street but one, at the corner? Scrooge inquired. I should hope I did, replied the lad. An intelligent boy, said Scrooge. A remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there? Not the little prize turkey, the big one. What? The one as big as me? Returned the boy. What a delightful boy, said Scrooge. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck. It's hiding there now, replied the boy. Is it? Said Scrooge. Go and buy it. Walker! Exclaimed the boy. No, no, said Scrooge. I am in earnest. Go and buy it, and tell him to bring it here, that I may give them the direction where to take it. Come back with the man, and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes, and I'll give you half a crown. Dress up, Victorian Grubhub. That's pretty much it. The boy was off like a shot. He must have had a steady hand at a trigger who could have got a shot off half so fast. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's, whispered Scrooge, rubbing his hands and splitting with a laugh. He shan't know who sends it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. Joe Miller never made such a joke as sending it to Bob's Willoughby. The hand in which he wrote the address was not a steady one, but write it he did, somehow, and went downstairs to open the street door, ready for the coming of the poulterer's man. As he stood there waiting his arrival, the knocker caught his eye. I shall love it as long as I live, cried Scrooge, patting it with his hand. I scarcely ever looked at it before. What an honest expression it has in its face. It's a wonderful knocker. Here's the turkey. Hello! Whoop! How are you? Merry Christmas! It was a turkey. He never could have stood upon his legs, that bird. He would have snapped them short off in a minute, like sticks of sealing wax. Why, it's impossible to carry that to Camden Town, said Scrooge. You must have a cab. The chuckle with which he said this, and the chuckle with which he paid for the turkey, and the chuckle with which he paid for the cab, and the chuckle with which he recompensated the boy, were only to be exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again, and chuckled till he cried. Shaving was not an easy task, for his hand continued to shake very much, and shaving requires attention, even when you don't dance while you're at it. But if he had cut the end of his nose off, he would have put a piece of sticking plaster over it, and been quite satisfied. He dressed himself all in his best, and at last got out into the streets. The people were by this time pouring forth, as he had seen them with the ghost of Christmas present, and walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge Pleasant regarded every one with a delighted smile. He looked so irresistibly pleasant, in a word, that 3 or 4 good-humored fellows said, Good morning, sir. A Merry Christmas to you. And Scrooge said often afterwards that of all the blithe sounds he had ever heard, those were the blithest in his ears. He had not gone far when coming on towards him he beheld the portly gentleman who had walked into his counting house the day before, and said, "Scrooge and Marley's, I believe." It set a pain across his heart to think how this old gentleman would look upon him when they met. But he knew what path lay straight before him, and he took it. "My dear sir," said Scrooge, quickening his pace, and taking the old gentleman by both his hands, "how are you? How do you do? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. A Merry Christmas to you, sir."
Mr. Scrooge?
"Yes," said Scrooge, "that is my name, and I fear it might not be pleasant to you. Allow me to ask your pardon, and will you have the goodness—" Here Scrooge whispered in his ear.
Lord bless me!"
cried the gentleman as if his breath were gone.
"My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious?"
"If you please," said Scrooge. "Not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Will you do me that favor?"
"My dear sir,"
said the other, shaking hands with him,
I don't know what to say to such munificent—"
"Don't say anything, please," retorted Scrooge. "Come and see me. Will you come and see me?"
"Oh, I will!"
cried the old gentleman, and it was clear he meant to do it. "Thank ye," said Scrooge. "I am much obliged to you. I thank you 50 times. Bless you." He went to church, and walked about the streets, and watched the people hurrying to and fro, and patted children on the head, and questioned beggars, and looked down into the kitchens of houses, and up to the windows, and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything, could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock. But he made a dash and did it. "Is your master at home, my dear?" said Scrooge to the girl. Nice girl. Very. "Yes, sir." "Where is he, my love?" said Scrooge. "He's in the dining room, sir, along with mistress. I'll show you upstairs, if you please." "Thank ye. He knows me," said Scrooge, with his hand already on the dining room lock. "I'll go in here, my dear." He turned it gently, and sidled his face in round the door. They were looking at the table, which was spread out in great array, for these young housekeepers are always nervous on such points, and like to see that everything is right. "Fred," said Scrooge. Dear heart alive, how his niece by marriage started! Scrooge had forgotten for the moment about her sitting in the corner with the footstool, or he wouldn't have done it on any account. "Why, bless my soul!" cried Fred. "Who's that?" "It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I've come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?" Let him in! It is a mercy he didn't shake his arm off. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. His niece looked just the same. So did Topper when he came. So did the plump sister when she came. So did everyone when they came. Wonderful party. Wonderful games. Wonderful unanimity. Wonderful happiness. Excuse me. Trezov, Topper plus Plump Sister equals we ship it. Oh, yes, yes. The book makes it very clear on that. Oh, yes. Topper has an eye for her. But he was early at the office next morning. Oh, he was early there. If he could only be there first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late. That was the thing he had set his heart upon. And he did it. Yes, he did. The clock struck 9. No Bob. A quarter past. No Bob. He was a full 18 minutes and a half behind his time. Scrooge sat with his door wide open, that he might see him come into the tank. His hat was off before he opened the door. His comforter, too. He was on his stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen as if he was trying to overtake 9 o'clock. "Hello," growled Scrooge, in his accustomed voice as near as he could feign it. "What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?"
I'm very sorry, sir," said Bob. "I am behind my time."
"You are," repeated Scrooge. "Yes, I think you are. Step this way, if you please."
"It's only once a year, sir," pleaded Bob, appearing from the tank. "It should not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir."
"Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I am not going," said Scrooge. "I am not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. And therefore," he continued, leaping from his stool and giving Bob such a dig in the waistcoat that he staggered back into the tank again, "and therefore, I'm about to raise your salary." Bob trembled and got a little nearer to the ruler. He had a momentary idea of knocking Scrooge down with it, holding him, and calling to the people in the court for help and a straight waistcoat. "A Merry Christmas, Bob," said Scrooge with an earnestness that could not be mistaken, as he clapped him on the back. "A Merry Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, that I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavour to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop. Bob, make up the fire, and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I, Bob Cratchit." Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a man, as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Chewy Jelly Tiny Tim, I lived it. Oh my goodness. Drazov loved that the editor made him put the "who did not die" bit in it, just to be sure. Yes, they did. And they waited until the very last second in the printing process to do so. That is amazing. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh, and little heeded them. For he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good at which some people did not have their fill of laughter at the outset. And knowing that such as these would be blind anyway, he thought it quite as well that they should wrinkle up their eyes in grins as have the malady in less attractive forms. Private Maverick Wall, isn't that swell? Yeah. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived upon the total abstinence principle ever afterwards. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. Ghostbusters taught us it was good not to have further intercourse with the spirits. Julian 20, bravo, bravo, author. Julie Jelly, yay, yes, yes, I love that ending. I love it. Ah, so on how this chapter is adapted in other forms. Um, most versions actually, like the Ghost Christmas Yet to Come, most versions keep to it very close to what the author wrote. Sometimes expand on it a little bit though. 1935's version keeps to it exceedingly close. It doesn't do anything new with it. 1938 with Reginald Owen is interesting. In that one, they make two changes. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, cool skeleton. They make two changes in 1938. Interesting additions. One, Scrooge goes to Fred and makes him a partner in his business. Because in the 1938 version, they really emphasize the idea of Fred being fairly poor compared to Scrooge. And he offers him a part in the business to help him and his fiance. Honestly, that always bothered me a little bit because why give Fred the partner in the business when you have Cratchit right there? It always seemed to bother me a little. Um, in the other change they make is one that they actually kind of follow up in a few other versions, which is they have Scrooge actually come to the Cratchits with the turkey and deliver it to them directly. Also bring toys for the Cratchit children, which makes his redemption seem a little bit less of a possible trick by Scrooge and more upfront. Um, 1951 keeps to the original very closely as well. It does add a little bit of a nice little speech that Scrooge gives when he meets Fred's wife, um, which is it's honestly very sweet. Which is something that the 1999 version repeats as well, though with different wording. I'm trying to think of the others. 1984, 1971, the anime version is just the same because they did a straight up adaptation of the book. 1984's version goes an interesting direction. It keeps it all the same beats, but when it comes to Fred shows more trepid- trepidation when it comes to forgiving Scrooge. He's more uncertain if Scrooge's behavior is honest or not. And it takes him a few minutes to warm up to the fact that yes, his uncle has changed. And it's quite natural. It's a slower build up. Drew Jelly. Okay, now what about the Mickey and Muppet versions? Um, the Mickey version follows in the suit of the 1938 version, while having Scrooge come in and directly hand the rewards to the Cratchits in person, which again is a nice touch for that. They do a similar thing in the 1930 in the Muppet version, which is actually very similar to what they do in the 1970 version. I skipped that, the musical version. In both the musical version and the Muppet version, they have Scrooge go out and not only give, rewards and gifts to the Cratchits, but give it all to numerous people. In the 1970 musical version, he gives it he essentially spends tons of money on toys and hands them out to all these children, tearing up his debts to people and basically doing this great service to everyone while everyone sings and dances. It's wonderful. It's marvelous. Um, Fun fact on that version. Oh my goodness, what's his name? Albert Finney insisted that that last musical number be performed live in take rather than have it recorded and them having to mime the words later. He had a little earpiece in his ear that would feed him his musical numbers, and they did it in one take. It's kind of interesting. The Muppet version follows in that suit, while having Scrooge go out and deliver presents and gifts and rewards to all these people we've met previously in the story, including Fezziwig, who is alive in this version, and his old teacher as well, who is alive as well. Drazov, they did it all in one take, and of course they did. They can do anything, you know. Nice one. Yeah, it's an amazing. If you've never seen the 1970s Scrooge musical, do it. It's quite delightful. It's probably my favorite version of it. 1984, and then 1999 again keeps it very precise to the book. There's nothing really new. They do have the little speech by Scrooge to Fred's wife, like they did in the 1951 version, though the wording is very different. But they still have Scrooge talk about his feelings and what he's been going through. And then the Jim Carrey animated version, which is the only other one I know, the major one. I don't think they change much in that one. There's when that movie was made, they made it big, like in a grand scale feeling. So there is obviously some things ways Scrooge acts in that one that are a little bit more like he runs out into the street, sliding around the ice in his night clothes and cheering on, running around, that sort of thing, which is never done in any of the other versions. So they make it bigger in that one, but they don't really change anything at the end. And as Drazov said, it's interesting that in the original draft, they didn't say if Tiny Tim survived or not. It was only in after when they were doing the printing process that they changed it because, as Drazov said again, insistence of the editor, because you needed to know, did Tiny Tim live or not? If Tiny Tim died, then what's the point of Scrooge being worried about him or trying to change the future? But yes, that is Christmas Carol. Ah, my dear scholars, I love doing that story. I will always do that story as long as I'm streaming every Christmas. Drazov reminds me of how the Rankin Bass Rudolph special didn't add Santa during the Misfit Toys until the second broadcast. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that you have to show these things. You can't leave people in suspense because if they don't if they aren't helped, then what's the point of everything the characters did? It's important to show that. But anyway, yes, like I said, this is a short stream. I only have so much energy for now. Drazov, yeah, originally just ended with Santa flying off, and kids all over wrote to ask, what about the dolly? I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. So yes, we're gonna end it here for now. My voice is still a little bit shot from the reading because I'll be honest, doing Scrooge's voice can be very tough on the vocal cords. It's very difficult to do the old man voice. Um, so upcoming weeks. I have not yet. I have been toying with the idea of taking a week off just to rest myself and prevent myself from getting burnt out a little bit. I don't know if I will. But if I don't, then Tuesday, more Ace Attorney, and then next Thursday, if everything goes according to plan, that's always the thing. We will be doing. We'll be going back and reading more of Around the World in 80 Days because we were in the middle of that when I stopped. Kinshon, I made my Scrooge voice get lighter as he became less crotchety. Oh, that's brilliant! Oh, that's a nice touch, Kinshon. Oh, I forgot another fun fact. Kinshon just reminded me. So in the 1984 version with George C. Scott, when Scrooge is his crotchety, mean self, he wears all black. But at the end, after his redemption, he starts wearing a red waistcoat, showing a splash of color, which suggests, the lightness of his heart after he has been redeemed by the ghosts. It's really smart, really brilliant. Oh my goodness. But yes, we'll end it here for now. I think this has been a good stream. And all I must say, my dear scholars, a Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. And I hope everything goes well for you going forward. You are my greatest gift here on the stream. I could not do anything without you. You are my present for this holiday. Kintron, I liked how Scrooge's color came from the scarf Beaker gave him in the Muppet version. I like that too. Julian20, we love you too much. Ah, thank you, thank you. Let's see if there's anyone we can raid on this Christmas day. I wonder if anyone is. Well, we shall see. If not, we will end it just here. I have to make sure I can actually get into my list. There we are. Is there anyone? I don't think there's anyone on. Oh, can you? Of course, you can suggest a raid. You truly jelly. Who do you suggest? Who would you suggest we raid, Jewelry Jelly? Ooh, DOS Games. Okay, we'll raid Capsule J. I believe Capsule J is a regular streamer, not a VTuber, but we will raid them. I love a good DOS game. So then, my dear scholars, I say unto you, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Till we meet each other again in the study. Take care, and I shall see you next time. Till then, farewell, bye bye, and Merry Christmas to us all.